Hello and welcome to the CX Files podcast. I'm your host, Mark Hillary. One of the biggest changes to come from the COVID pandemic has been the urgency to improve business continuity planning and resilience. Nobody wants to find their company in the situation that many were in last March, where nobody could get to work, but all of the important data and tools were inside the office. Cloud computing has become an important part of the answer because cloud systems allow tools and services to be securely accessed from anywhere, including services like virtual contact centers. In this episode, I'm talking to Numrah Irfan, the Vice President of Client Success at Watserv, about the cloud and how companies can build back better after this experience. Numrah is based in Toronto in Canada, and Watserv is one of the leading cloud advisors and implementation companies in Canada. Okay, so let's learn something more about using the cloud. Okay, Numrah, thanks for appearing on the podcast. Now, I know that Watserv and your team, you're basically offering a stable infrastructure to your clients. But when they talk to you about their priorities and why they're coming to you, what are the key things that they're looking for in a cloud solution or strategy?
Hi, Mark. Thanks for having me. Glad to be here. It's a great overarching question. Why do clients come to Watserv and what are they looking for? Really, clients seek support from us for a variety of reasons, and they can be very varied based on specific business scenarios and situations. So we see typical things like support with aging infrastructure and equipment. Things that might prompt requirements to refresh hardware, but clients may not be sure if they want to invest or if they should invest in that and continue to invest in on-premise gear, or they've already invested in the cloud and they're just not sure how best to evolve it or really to make the most out of their existing investment they've already made. And so really our goal is to kind of meet them anywhere on those questions that they may have and where they may be on that journey. And regardless of the scenario, our clients are really looking for an optimal platform, bottom line. And that means the right foundation with the right governance, the appropriate technical design and architecture. And really the goal is to obtain the reliability from that architecture, the flexibility, most importantly, and really thrust into the forefront the last year is the highest degree of security from that platform and that architecture. So ultimately, it's that overall confidence that there's going to be no performance issues, no security issues. They're going to be able to scale and deal with any scalability issues along the way. And then there are some clients that have some very specific needs. It may be things like regulatory compliance or meeting data sovereignty concerns. And that's really where we can, get a little bit flexible and creative and offer kind of multi-cloud or hybrid solutions as well.
Okay. Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned about security there because a lot of people have been talking about that ever since the pandemic, with everybody working from home. I know that when companies do come to you and ask for advice, are they coming from the perspective of having a legacy system, like their system is entirely in the office, or do they have cloud experience, or are they sort of, somewhere along that journey?
Yeah, I'll start off by saying that Watserv and what we provide, I think it really is a new and kind of emerging breed of IT services and solutions that is focused on bringing a very tailored and a very high touch approach, and recognizing that not all organizations have a defined IT or an operational strategy, and perhaps not even a defined modern IT strategy. So the short answer is clients can be anywhere on that journey, and we'll work with them to map out their goals, their short-term goals, their long-term goals. But we bring that consultative approach to create a path for them, a holistic kind of cloud roadmap or cloud path forward. And sometimes it's just starting with some quick wins for our customers and really just helping them, get kind of the immediate goals done, and then go and build out kind of a longer IT strategy or cloud roadmap. So really it can be anywhere along that journey. And that's really where the strength of our professional services team comes in. We make sure we bring a solutioning mindset to whatever the client's concerns are and needs are, and that mindset is flexible but also innovative, right? Like it needs to consider best practices and thought leadership, and that we're solving for clients' needs, whether they're kind of immediate, we're in a very specific scenario where we need to do X, but also helping them think about, the path forward and kind of the longer term multi-year approach.
Yeah, that's interesting. And you were saying about what the clients come and ask you about. And I'm interested because, you're a B2B, you're talking to clients who are then selling B2C services. What are the sort of improvements that the customers of your clients are going to see? Are they going to get more reliability or better services? I mean, what is the sort of end game for them then?
Yeah, I mean, it's such a great question. And in particularly the world that I live in with just customer success, it's something that we can never afford to lose sight of, because our day-to-day stakeholders are, part of the ecosystem. The end goal is really what's the true impact to either the end customer or the end consumer. So, I mean, when I think about that, and particularly for businesses that we work with that are B2C, ultimately, I think the simplest way I see it is their end customers should see absolutely nothing. So nothing at all except what they were promised to be seeing or expecting to be seeing based on, whatever interaction they're having with the client's product. So whether they're in the store purchasing product or they're interacting through some e-commerce channels, it should be seamless. It should be what they were expecting. And so really, the technology piece for us, the goal is to have it run seamlessly in the background. So the end customer experience is exactly what it was intended to be by our client's business. No delays, no hiccups. And so really in like technical terms for our business, we're saying we want to be striving for that peak performance for our clients. It needs to be reliable. At kind of every aspect of the performance needs to be reliable. The agility, the security components, and that means for us, it's about proactive management of that environment and a risk to that environment. So if the end goal is customers see nothing but what they expect to see, we have to be on top of the risk factors before they even become real. And again, particularly from that cybersecurity lens, we know where that focus has been over the past year, and really ensuring that clients have that kind of top necessary cybersecurity capabilities. Everyone's trying to safeguard their business, defend themselves from this increasing level of cybersecurity threat. So proactive management of the environment, of the security threats, making sure that there's flexibility, that there's kind of optimal components of the environment that we've invested in with our clients. Those are the types of things we focus on. So we should never hear about a customer impact or an end customer impact.
Yeah, that's interesting. I like the answer that the end customer should actually see nothing because that's what they expect. And you talked there about reliability, like keeping the system stable. And you also mentioned about how you prepare ahead of anything that might happen. So if let's say I'm a retail client of yours and I know that it's going to get crazy over Black Friday, and then I'd call you and say, look, what are you going to do to make sure my system is stable over Black Friday? What are the sort of things that you would say?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how pervasive Black Friday is across the world, but I think it's becoming that way. But certainly, it's a very common scenario. Many of our retail clients, manufacturing, distribution clients, they have business peak periods or seasons, depending on their business. And they can be a couple of weeks, whether it's over the holiday season, or they can be, throughout the year, depending on what the product is. One of our customers is in the horticultural planting business, right? So they have a summer peak season that's very unique to their business. So these are very common scenarios. We've typically approached it and kind of think about it kind of two towers that we stand up for our customers when we think it's required. And really it's two things in my mind. It's one, it's back to the proactive technical management, and making actually changes to the environment to say, look, we know, peak season's coming up, heavy season's coming up. Let's do a quick environment review, a health check, and really depending on what the critical technical components are, we'll typically do things like system upgrades or memory upgrades, firmware upgrades. We'll kind of look across that. And it's a big umbrella term, technical changes, but kind of we'll look across what exists, what are the critical components, and whatever we can prepare in advance to get ready, right, for that time period. So that's one kind of aspect of it. And then the other aspect, equally important, is issue management and bringing a very proactive and a very high touch and white glove sort of approach to managing issues if and when they arise. So what we've done in the past with some of our retail customers is during these peak periods or seasons, we'll proactively set up daily and sometimes multiple times a day, but daily touch points where we're actually going through and pulling reports on performance aspects, health aspects, operational performance of the environment. Are the backup jobs being done properly? Any dashboards we need to be looking at, and so on. And we'll just, it can be a quick conversation every day, but it's just that level of confidence back to our clients that, hey, we've done it. We've done the review. Nothing's looking off. Or if it is, now we've looked at it well ahead of, potentially something happening. So that's how we approach it. It's like the two-pronged approach of, get the technology, ready, right? Like the stuff that's not human and the stuff that can just run in the background, and then add the human element of let's actually touch base and look at data and look at performance and make sure we're on top of it.
Yeah, that's interesting. And I was going to ask you also then about the pandemic and how that might have affected you. And I guess that the company itself, being a technology company, it wouldn't be like directly impacted very much. But I guess you must have had some clients hitting a boom period because of the pandemic, and some that have really suffered. I mean, have you had to help some clients through the crisis then?
Yeah, I mean, I think I may have mentioned, but if not, I'll reiterate, like our client base at Watserv is very diverse. And so it includes businesses from every industry vertical out there. So we've definitely had customers whose businesses were, they were thrust into the forefront of meeting the needs of the pandemic, like healthcare. And then on the other end, customers whose businesses were very negatively impacted for either a short time, and then they kind of ramped back up, or completely decimated. Unfortunately, travel and hospitality, for example, is on that in that category. And so, how do we support these customers? It's it was a new question last year to everyone, and we kind of stepped back and it's how we support our employees. It's one with empathy. So that's always been first and foremost is understanding the impacts to the business, the employees in that business, and all the stakeholders that rely on that business. So some really open, transparent conversations. That's kind of the starting point for helping to support those customers. And typically, that's translated into being very, very flexible, right? And so offering up as much flexibility that we can from our business. That may help in any ways back to the end customer. So we've done things like changing payment terms or offering kind of delayed payment terms. We've also gone in and done some of that optimization, again, kind of being very proactive and saying, look, let's look at your environment. Let's look at what you've got in your current services and solutions, and let's turn some stuff off or tune it down if you don't need it, because that'll get you instant cost savings. Right. And so that's a big value driver. It's not always, what can we grow and how do we kind of optimize and bring more solutions, but sometimes optimization is less. So, offering that proactive review, we did a lot of that last year and we'll continue to do it where we need to. Spinning down those extra development or test environments, scaling down workloads, being really on top of user counts. Hey, let's minimize those user counts, because again, those are the levers that are going to bring instant change and instant cost savings. So that's kind of some examples. And again, I'll reiterate it. It's a very tailored solution for these select customers that have businesses that are very negatively impacted. And we try to be very communicative, very consultative, and really just flexible. So it's building on the trust that we have and the partnership that we have with our clients. And if we can help kind of bring some sort of relief that's going to help the longevity of their business, that's the goal for us. So there isn't one real thing or one set of patterns or things that we've done, but really just having conversations that help us kind of collectively identify with the customer what is the need. Is it a short-term cost improvement, or is it kind of a longer-term plan to change your environment?
Yeah, that's great. And I think that what you said at the start really kind of summarizes it. You said, you listen and you have empathy with the client, because ultimately it's not in your interest for the client to go bust next week. Ideally, maybe they need to ramp down for a bit, but that will help them to survive, and that brings me back to maybe a final point, because I just wanted to ask you about that question of how do you manage the clients? Because, when we talk about cloud-based services, it's always this idea of buying something as a service. There's a philosophy of just buying what you need when you need it. And that implies that a lot of this stuff is automated and you hardly have any kind of customer interaction. So I mean, is that sort of impression seems to be completely wrong from what you just said a minute ago?
Yeah, it's quite a balancing act, I would say. Because the reality is automation is great, and automation is expected, and we need to do more of it where it makes sense. So when it comes to technical or administrative or even like maintenance type of activities for our customers, that's where we invest our enhancement, focus on enhancing to automate it. But that allows us to kind of focus in, bring that efficiency back and build it back into our high touch kind of client model. And so, yes, it's as a service business, you have to balance the two, and one feeds the other. So, our overall managed services support model for our customers, I would say it is very high touch, and it will remain very high touch. That doesn't mean, we're not going to automate things and we're not on the path to that. We absolutely need to, and we'll continue to do that. But the nature of managed services is we take care of everything for our customers' environments, soup to nuts. And just by that statement alone, our model needs to be high touch in certain aspects. So I'll start off by saying, first off, like our managed services operations team, the front door for our customers is really the foundation of our offering. So this is, customer issues, tickets, cases, they come in, they go into an operations team that has its own sort of levels of escalation and management, direct management by the senior levels of that team. And then in addition to that kind of base layer of operations, all of our customers, no matter their size or their footprint with us, all of our customers have a named client success rep. And all of our client success reps are at a senior level, and we've done that by design. So every one of our clients has a director level customer success representative, a customer success director. And so that's our kind of added layer of support and advice and sort of counsel to our customers. And these reps, they're really just trying to ensure that the clients are getting what they signed up for. end to end throughout their journey. So wherever they are on that journey, whether it's thinking about growing some of the solutions, whether it's thinking about, shrinking their footprint, whatever their needs are, if we can't bring it to the table, we'll bring partner to the table. So our client success director layer is an important one to help manage that end-to-end journey. And then we also have another counterpart role that works hand in hand. We call them service delivery managers. And really they're kind of designated for specific clients that need that added layer of operational support. So these are additive to kind of the base, model for managed services. And so, back to your question around automation, it's important. It's important to the future of our business. It's important to the future of every technology business. But really for us, the use case for automation is to help reduce that sort of lower end technical maintenance stuff. So we can create more room for the more meaningful interactions with our clients that tend to be more, advisory focused and consultative focused. And also for us, it's something that we want to, bring as a value proposition and continue to grow as a value proposition. I've talked a little bit about that in some of the other questions we discussed, but bringing that advisory level of support, thought leadership, talking through cybersecurity best practices, risks, threats that are upcoming, and business planning, right? So everyone's had to change their business planning model over the last year because things are changing so fast. Budgets have to be reviewed so fast. So working alongside of our customers, that is our value differentiator across their IT business, across their operations business. And that stuff's never going to be automated. It's the stuff our clients want more of and need more of. And we want to be here to kind of meet those needs always.
Thanks for downloading the CX Files podcast. If you have a moment, please give us a star rating or review on your favorite podcast provider, because this really helps other people to find the podcast. If you have any suggestions for future guests, or ideas, people, or topics, then please just find myself, Mark Hillary, or Peter Ryan on LinkedIn and send a suggestion.